And then, it's 2.5 years.
Yeah.
We have okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. All please rise as the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. First thing on the agenda is the roll call. J.D., would you please call the roll?
Mayor Mars.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Here.
Trustee McManning.
Here.
Trustee Brent Werner.
Here.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Here.
Trustee Ed Holland.
Here.
Trustee Richard Toma.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so we will continue on. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Denton McWhorter and a second by Trustee Denise Bryant to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes of August 9th, 2023, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 9th of 2023 as presented by staff.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Denise Bryant and a second by Trustee Brent McWhorter to approve the minutes of August 9th, 2023 as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Okay, motion is approved. Audience business, don't have anybody signed up to speak. It's not on the agenda, so we'll move right along to announcements. Heather?
I have a few announcements, and then I think Jason has an announcement and Sherry has it. So, the group conducted the past Mesa Verde, the 70% field design review meeting. We hope to be at 95% design this winter or spring. The original budget for this project was $4.4 million. The current budget is $10.5 million with a 10% contingency. So as the project progresses, we'll bring this back to you and keep you posted. I just wanted to give you an update because it's been a while since we've had a meeting. The staff submitted a letter to DOLA. We signed it for me, but we submitted a letter to DOLA to extend the contract on the water treatment program project. It was expiring September 30th, so they are extended through December 31, 2024. We don't anticipate it going that long, but I just don't want to have to ask for another extension on that grant if we can help it. The CML district meeting is in Bayfield on September 7th. I think that Queenie said she wanted to go. Does anybody else wish to attend? I will not be attending that, and I don't think Jason will be attending.
What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
A Thursday?
I don't have my phone. It's like I'm lost.
It's the first Thursday.
I think I was just going to say
It starts at 4 o'clock.
in Bayfield. Anybody who wants to go, please send me an email because we do have to pay for this meeting. And it's not a problem, we can afford it, but just let me know because Jamie will kind of check for Bayfield.
Okay.
So if you do decide, Queenie, I've already taken care of you. If anybody else decides you want to go, please send me an email. I'm also tracking how many people want to go because if I have 4 or more, we need to do this. So right now I just have Mayor Marshall.
I know I can't. Got a meeting in Junction.
Just maybe send me an email or something.
Okay.
I go to the fall flowers will be here next Monday. You may have noticed that the flowers disappeared. The fall flowers, we've set the barrels and the containers back to be filled in for fall, so those should be here on Monday. Okay.
My only question is, does it take them that long to get them refilled? I mean, they're gorgeous all summer, and it's like, man, I missed them. I even called Terry. Did someone steal them?
It does take that long to get them.
I did notice the barrel by my business is deteriorating pretty bad.
Barrel
The
itself?
barrel itself is like caved in on top.
Oh, okay.
So you might want to take a look at that before you put anything on top of
Flip it over.
it.
Um,
Better you than me, I'm not doing it, that's what I'm saying.
I did hear from the school today that their homecoming bonfire is on October 10th. So that will be, Justin will write a staff report and that information will come to you at a future meeting. And the homecoming parade is on October 12th. So we have sent the street closure request to CDOT. The school gets one street closure from us a year, and generally it's homecoming. So because we do manage that with regard to the street closure itself. So that was submitted to CDOT, and you'll see one other request will have to come before you can submit at a future meeting. Jason, I think you had an announcement about a Brownsfield project.
Yes, I do. As you guys know, I've been working with the school district to help them unlock some funds from CDPHE, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, and the EPA to get a level 1 environmental assessment completed on the bus barn property. And we're at this point where we need to submit a couple of different applications, and CDPHE is requiring that somebody besides the district make those applications. So I've been working with them to complete the applications, and I'm going to submit those probably later this week, and hopefully that will be enough information to trigger that level 1 assessment. And then after that, it will also unlock some funds for a free housing feasibility analysis that one of the consultants has a grant through the EPA to get done. So just providing you guys with that update. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I'm good.
Jason, it's Janice, and this housing, would this just be, I don't know if you know this at a time, but would be for school employees?
I don't really know the answer to that, but in initial conversations, the school district's going to have basically no chance of obtaining any kind of funding for housing if they restrict it just for their employees. Okay. So at this point, what I'm hearing from the district is it'll be open to the community.
Okay. Thank you.
Terry?
The yard waste and townwide cleanup this past weekend. We had 24 participants in yard waste. And at the townwide cleanup, we had 52 in town and 7 that were real sneaky from out of town.
Real sneaky.
Real sneaky. They swore up and down they lived within the city limits. They didn't, so.
Make them. Is that a record number, 52? Is that the most we've had so far?
I think it could be close.
Okay.
So it's working. 5 dumpsters, but we only filled 4.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
but we had a good turnout. And to serve the citizens better for next year, I'm considering doing it on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay. Because you think you'll get more participation on a week?
We had like 6 people show up on Sunday to load the trash, but
Yeah.
we were close.
Okay.
That is all we have from staff.
Past the Mesa Verde, I thought we opted out of that, and you requested to give the money, the potential grant money back.
Okay, so there were 2 pieces of that. One, we did receive an admin grant from DOLA for a cost-benefit analysis. And it was determined that that was not needed, so we returned those funds to DOLA. We de-obligated those funds. The second piece of that is I have to get my notes, several years ago, the board, the county came and did a presentation, James Dietrich, and the board committed to 30% of the project cost. However, more than 2 years has passed since you guys committed that. via motion, second, and roll call vote in a meeting. So you also, during that de-obligation discussion, unrestricted or unpromised the paths to Mesa Verde funds with the understanding that when design is finished and we're actually going to start doing something, we would come back to it.
Yeah, because I mean, 30% of 10 million.
Well, and so, yeah, so,
Ouch.
and there's still, that's the total cost of the project. James Dietrich, from Montezuma County has been amazing at getting grants. So, but, funds change, contracts expire, that kind of thing. So what I would ask then is when you're at 95% design and potentially have a construction schedule, I would ask him to come back and do another presentation to you that says, here's a project budget, here's all.
There'll be a new board by then too.
Yes.
So yeah,
That's why
that
we
totally makes
decided-
sense.
That's why we decided to unrestrict those funds,
Mhm.
once more than 2 years have passed, and 2 years is generally.
Pretty sure that was 2018 that we did that.
Okay, yeah, so it was forever ago, but,
Yeah,
so
it was a
once
long
we
time
get,
ago.
once they actually get design figured out, and a potential construction schedule, then we will come back to you, James will come back to you, with project schedule, final design, and budget, along with these are the grants that we've received, and this is cash out of pocket, and then there will be another discussion at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I will let you guys know that I will be attending the Colorado State Fair representing the town of Mancos as for Mayor's Day on September 2nd. So we'll be going up there. All right. Any other announcements from the board? Okay, moving right along to committee reports. The Montezuma County Commissioner, and Gerald is not here. Heather, did you listen in on that meeting? Do you have anything? Okay. The Montezuma County Planning Commission, I attended that meeting 2 weeks ago. There was nothing that affected Mancos. There was a couple, but they were close, but they were 5 miles out. And so, but I did sit in on that meeting. Region 9.
Nothing new since last meeting.
CDOT.
I attended the DPR meeting since Richard is out of state this month. They are working on a TPR study update. TPR boundaries are reviewed every time they redo their 5-year plan. No changes are recommended to our boundaries at this time. They can't legally reduce the number of rural TPRs, which we are. There is definitely discussion about sections in northern Colorado that are split, like Gunnison County is split between 2 TPR regions. So they're discussing things in other parts of the state, but nothing that would impact our regional TPR. They are hoping, this consultant that they've hired, are hoping to hold additional stakeholder meetings and have some kind of recommendations out by the end of September, and they'll hold another round of public meetings in October. They did some congressional updates, Senator Hickenlooper's office. Their appropriation spending bill, the draft spending bills have come out. Mancos did not receive funding. I believe she said that Cortez received some funding, Uri received funding, Ignacio received funding. So, and then his representative, Helen Cage, is transitioning to the legislative team, so we will have a new representative from Senator Hickenlooper's office at the next TPR meeting. There was some other updates. I don't know that it matters too much to you guys. They had like a construction update. There's nothing happening in Mancos now except for the chip sealing that's happening on Highway 184. And then the Transportation Commissioner report. They are definitely having commissioner turnover on the State Transportation Board. And then one of the big things that they're still discussing is their broadband subcommittee is still discussing that right-of-way payment requirement. That we submitted a please don't do this letter, you all did that. Because it will stop in its tracks any broadband infrastructure installation. There's no way the town of Mancos can afford a couple $100,000 a year to pay CDOT every year, but broadband in their life. So that subcommittee is still discussing that issue, and there has been no action, no additional action taken. So we'll definitely keep you posted on that. But that was the 4 hours of here.
So the broadband is going in on Wolf Creek.
Yes.
Broadband, yeah, it's moved
Oh,
all the
yeah.
way, it's all the way over the top of Wolf Creek down into Pagosa. It's
Yeah.
into,
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
they're right at the
But they were
limits
still
today.
working on Wolf Creek this weekend. They were still.
Yeah, they're tying it, they've already ran all the tubing, now they're doing the tie-ins, but they're running the conduit, they're right up to Highway 84 where it goes north
Yeah.
or south to Wachama. They're right there, because they were hydro seeding it today when I was there.
Okay, Mavis Planning and Zoning?
We didn't have a meeting since the last time I saw you.
Okay, moving right along to discussion and action items. The first thing is the 2023 Public Art Proposal Review and Decision.
Chelsea is here from the Mancos Creative District. She sent me the actual proposals last week, so I put those in your board packet, and she is here to provide you with some information and a recommendation from the Creative District.
Thank you. Good to see you all. Do I need to say my address and everything? Okay.
For the Creative District.
Okay. I did put a recommendation in writing for you, so if you want to take one and pass it down a minute. And then extra copy. We actually have copies for everyone in this room.
Yeah, it's informal.
So I'll walk through this with you guys and give you a little bit more context. I'll just start with a project overview. So the goal of this project, as you know, is to enhance our public spaces in the town of Mancos with art. And we want that artwork to celebrate and honor our diverse cultural and natural landscapes. And this is really the mission of public art for the Creative District in all of the projects that we pursue. Artists for this project were provided with a list of potential public locations where they could propose murals or sculpture, primarily. I worked with Heather to identify those locations, and I can remind you of them if you'd like. We did open up the proposal to any artists living in the region. We were kind of curious to see what we got, but we did state that we would give preference to artists within the Mancos Valley. We received 3 proposals, which I think we could do better in the future, but this year we received 3. 2 of those proposals were from artists from Mancos and 1 from outside of Mancos. Budget-wise, you guys put forward $3,000 annually. The Mancos Creative District received a generous donation for public art, and we decided to use that to match the $3,000 this year, so we do have a budget of $6,000,
Oh, good.
which is amazing. And we didn't want to change anything about our process because of that, because we didn't have a chance to really talk with you guys about it. So we're just offering that as a gift from the Creative District. On my Public Art Advisory Committee, which I'm here to speak on behalf of, met on Monday, and we would like to recommend going with the artist Alexander Bond. If you guys had a chance to review the proposals in your packet, you would see that Alex proposed a sculpture. I will say that we leaned in the direction of sculpture because of the fact that we actually have 4 different mural projects already going on this year, 2 of which are completed. One is a mural in the Mancos Visitor Center. Another is a mural on the side of the Beehive, which honors local women. We are also moving forward with a mural on the Live Well building. Very excited. That will honor our Indigenous peoples of the area. And then we are working with Alpaca to do another mural with artist Chip Thomas there. So that's kind of one of the big reasons that we leaned towards sculpture. We also really felt that Alex's proposal was the most professional. gave us a lot of confidence in what we would be purchasing. He is a Mancos artist, well-established Mancos artist that runs a local nonprofit that supports children in the community to get involved in artwork. We really appreciate the quality of his work. We did feel that his proposal met the goals of the project by focusing on local cultural and natural landscapes. We found it to be compelling and fun, and then also, technically sound. And sculpture is easier to maintain, oftentimes, than mural. So for all those reasons, we really liked Alex's work. We do have a recommendation about the site. We did not love the Pioneer Plaza as a site, and that has to do with the fact that there are several other vertical elements in that space that do not seem to match with the proposed artwork. I included a couple of photos of spaces in Cottonwood Park that we think are really good options. One is there's like a roundabout when you come into the parking area, so it's like right there in the center. They're both at the entrance. The other is by this rock that says Cottonwood Park right at the entrance. We like the idea of it being there for a few reasons. One of them was, wow, it's kind of a site that's really for the people of Mancos. Like, yes, visitors do go there. We encourage them to go there, but it's kind of more for the people of Mancos. It feels that way. It helps us spread the art out around the community instead of it being so centralized downtown. And really, we would like to ask Alex to work with the other visual elements in that space. We really love the idea of being able to see the artwork from different angles and how it complements other vertical elements there. So we'd just like to ask him to explore that. We also just had some comments that we will provide to Alex if you do select this proposal, having to do with the imagery for Native American cultures and natural landscapes. We just wanted a little bit more detail about the imagery. He was very detailed about some of the imagery and less detailed about others, so we were just curious. I'll say a few words about the other proposals. Kay Salwin is also a really amazing local artist. We really appreciate her style and appreciate the way that she wants to activate space and really believe that that's what public art is all about. However, the proposed location doesn't seem like a good match. I can't really imagine having kids run over and hang out around the backside of the town hall. That's the space she proposed. I do want to offer you guys an example of something. This is just a piece of art in St. Paul, Minnesota. But when we think about the backside of the town hall as a space for art, this is just an example of something that I think would work versus something that has a lot of detail. And we do have a local artist who does object-based art that is interested in submitting future proposals. So I think it's a good space to keep open for the future. I also have the Mancos Creative District has some partnership opportunities coming up with the Mancos Public Library, which I'd really like to tie this artist in on. Another thought I've had about this artist in particular is the podium in the park. There is like a strip of area around the base of it that we could put artwork on. So I think that's also something to think about as a space for the future.
Pavilion? Pavilion?
Or I don't know what you would call it. It's like the
Covered
stage.
area?
Pavilion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We pulled the Lions Club in on that in the discussion of our lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's owned by the Lions Club.
They maintain it.
Okay.
We donated it, they donated it. So we-
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wasn't sure what you were talking about. So.
Yeah, I just think that that's kind of a more appropriate space for the kind of concept that Kay was proposing. And then Ghost Pony is the third proposal. Very nice style. However, we just didn't feel connected to it. It felt a bit disconnected and it lacked depth and really lacked an understanding of our community. So we would recommend against that. And in fact, our recommendation is Alex Bond. Our second recommendation, if you do not agree with that, would be to continue collecting proposals. So, any questions?
Ed, what
No,
do you think?
Nope.
Do you have a preference on one of the others, or do you want them to continue accepting proposals?
no, I think Alex Bonds is what I agree with that. I think putting it in Cottonwood Park, like I say, moving it into not just everything right here, moving it through the community, I like that concept.
I agree. I think Alex has got a great proposal, and the fact that we can showcase an artist that does do a lot in the community is a great thing. I do agree with Cottonwood Park as well, and I think I would like the roundabout area as opposed to next to the rock. I think that seems like a better spot for it for me, because you can see it from multiple angles and from the street as well. So that would be my idea with it. Is I think that it's a really good location for it, and I do like spreading it out a little more than just everything downtown.
Denise?
Good presentation, Chelsea, thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
And, I agree. When I was looking at our board packet, I really liked Alex's proposal, and I know he has submitted before, and I like the idea of Cottonwood Park, and congratulations on the other 3,000, because that 6,000 in his proposal, I think
Yeah, makes it
it
possible.
was going to eat that up real quick, and it's beautiful, the sphere that he's come up with. So yeah, I would go with Alex Bond's proposal here.
Yeah, ditto. Alex is a known quantity, does amazing things, and I really like it. I do think in terms of location, I really like Putnam Park. It almost, in my mind, because his art is so, you see it from afar, and it's got context and kind of layers, but really, when you get up close, you see it in a whole new way. And putting it almost even inside the park on the other side of the fence, so when people are walking, it's also somewhat interactive. Is another idea I thought of, but yeah, no, it's great. Congratulations, yeah. It's a great time, good art in town.
Cindy?
Of the three, I think that Alex's was the most professional. I'm glad that you pointed out the Native American culture issue. I do not want to see a white person's view of some ticky-tacky, what we think their culture is about. So I'm really concerned about that. But overall, I think his was my favorite of the three. I do like the Center Island roundabout location because I think that while it would be really cool to have it like out in the field so that everybody could see it as they're walking through the park, we do have people that don't walk through the park, because of ADA or whatever. And so I think by putting it in the parking lot, you'll be able to see it from a distance as well as from the road as well as close up. And so I like that. And this is kind of sounds like we're all going with Alex here, but I did just want to make a comment on Kay's work because I see here that might translate to a public library project, and that is my concern is a lot of the proposed imagery really doesn't have anything to do with the Mancos Valley.
Yeah.
The animals proposed, the Hesperus Mountain, that's not in the Mancos Valley. I would much prefer something with Mesa Verde or, if the Utes gave permission, Sleeping Ute. Just something a little more tuned into the Mancos Valley and the views that we see and the animals that we see. And I think there was like a roadrunner or something, and or maybe that was one.
That might have been in
the
the ghost
other project.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
That was a ghost.
Yeah, but
this one has
but
foxes and eagle.
yeah, and so
You
I mean.
can't see Hesperus from town. To be fair.
You can.
Well, you can, but especially when it was proposed for the back wall, you're looking west, but you're seeing Hesperus, it was just doing my head in. on that. So maybe just a little more consideration of things that are actually here and that make sense visually with the context of the landscape.
Coach Pony does say that she would do something similar but incorporate elements specific to Mancos. So
Yeah.
that's just an example.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was just my comment that we're talking about. Yeah, I think so.
Saguaros.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion. We need a motion.
We do, we would need a motion and a second and a roll call vote to accept the proposal. I'm sorry?
He's scrolling to get to the record.
I made a recommendation, so,
Okay.
but we would need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to accept the proposal from Alex Bond with a change in location to the roundabout at Cottonwood Park.
I make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the proposal, written proposal of Alex Bond, with the exception of moving the art to the roundabout in Cottonwood Park.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion by trustee McManning and a second by trustee Grant McWhirter to accept the proposal for art from Alexander Bond and the location to be in the Cottonwood Park roundabout. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson,
Aye.
Trustee McManning.
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Allen.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Chelsea, would you like to carry
Absolutely.
for that?
Yes, I'll make it happen. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chelsea.
Okay, so next on the agenda is the 2025 through 2030 five-year capital plan adoption. Heather.
Yes, the department heads have updated our five-year plan now that we have the 2024 budget in process. So we removed the items from 2024 and it's time to adopt the five-year plan for 2025 through 2030. So basically what we do is each year we have, each department has capital projects or large projects and we prioritize them 1 through 5, with 1 being the most important. So for example, in the last capital plan, we had the CNL room and the server upgrade. We're doing that this year, so that's been removed, and the 2s have been moved up, and that kind of thing. So we also talked a little bit about this at the staff retreat, and, or excuse me, at the board retreat in May. So this document reflects that discussion and department head priorities as well.
You know, I think it's important, you know, very important to do this, and it's not that this is what's gonna happen, you know, verbatim. What this is a guideline for this board and future boards on what they anticipate as staff members, because they're the ones that are in the trenches, not us. So, you know, I commend them for doing what they've done, and, you know, understanding that we can't achieve them all, but we'll do our best, but at the same time, things could come up that will move them from one point to another, so it's a good guideline, great guideline.
Well, it is, and having a 5-year capital plan that's been adopted by the board of trustees is also extremely helpful when we're applying for grants.
Oh, yes.
Every DOLA grant that we've ever applied for and received, the project was in a 5-year plan. It was in a comp plan and a 5-year plan and another, so that grant agencies absolutely look at that, especially as grants get more competitive.
Yeah, they're not just saying, oh, they just on their whim decided to do this, you know, something that's been thought of and prior planned.
So, and if you, this is by no means required today. If you would like to look at this and put it on the next meeting or put it on a future meeting, we can do that. It's just on my kind of calendar of things to do, so it came up. But this is by no means required, so if there are questions, if you would like additional conversation, if you want me to add, subtract, or remove, completely up to you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Well, I kind of look at this personally as this is, you know, what staff is feeling what we need to do, and I don't think it's something that we need to it's not an adoptive type thing where we adopt it, it's just something that we recognize and acknowledge.
No, we do have to
Because
adopt it.
of the fact that it will flex. I mean, it's, unless you feel we need a vote to accept.
If you do not adopt it, I cannot say that it's adopted in grant application.
Okay, yeah, because, yeah, it's just, yeah. Let's adopt
And
it,
it
kids.
doesn't mean that we can't, I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't deviate from it or that we can't.
Right, yeah, no,
Right.
totally understand.
It's a living document.
It's a living document, what a great term.
And also tell staff, because we're already talking, the department heads are already talking about projects for 2025.
Yeah.
Or 2026. So it does tell us, if there's something in here and you as a board are like, we'll adopt it, but take that out, it tells us don't spend your time. Or if you put something in, you know, it also, it's a collaboration, I think, between the board and the staff.
Denise, you have any questions?
No, I read through it and, I don't really have any questions. I think it's really thorough and I would be ready to adopt it.
Cindy?
I think it looks great. I think it's very enthusiastic. And I love our staff.
Brent?
Nothing.
Anything? Then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2025 to 2030 5-year capital plan as presented by staff.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Ed Hallam and a second by trustee Nick Manning to adopt the 2025 through 2030 5-year capital plan as presented by staff. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee McManus.
Aye.
Trustee Brett Porter.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Howe.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving right along to the BEAD opposition letter. Heather.
I would actually ask Jason to introduce this topic.
Wake up, Jason.
I'm here. Yes. So hopefully you guys were able to review the staff report and the letter. Basically, Czech and Region 9 and the other regional local governments are submitting these letters of opposition to a letter of credit requirement for the next round of broadband funding through the BEAD program. One of the major reasons why Region 9 application for the capital funds project was denied at the federal level was because of this letter of credit, and I think we mentioned this in the last meeting. The limited participation clause in the Colorado Constitution basically prohibits counties, cities, towns, or townships, or districts, school districts to lend or pledge credit or faith. And so we're going to reach out to our folks in Congress and basically as a region reinforce the idea that we would like them to work on our behalf to get that letter of credit requirement removed. So that's the short version of it. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move we authorize the mayor to sign a letter of opposition to be sent to congressional representatives Bennett, Hickenlooper, and Bogert.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson and a second by trustee Denise Bryant to authorize the mayor to sign letters of opposition to be sent to the congressional representatives Bennett, Hickenlooper, and Bogert. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee McManus.
Aye.
Trustee Brett Porter.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Howe.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I'll sign those letters.
Jason? Can you hear me?
Jason, can you hear Heather?
Yes.
Do you, because you're out of the office, do you want me to send those to Shaq via email tomorrow and the individuals, or do you want to do that? How would you like to handle that?
Yeah, I'll be back on Friday morning, and I have the regional meeting, so I'll figure out what I need to do then.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Hold
a
on, Brent has a question before you
Just
do
a
that.
quick thing I saw. We have Congresswoman Bogert spelled incorrectly in the dear part of the letter.
Oh, okay.
So we might want to check it to make sure we have her name spelled right before we send it to her.
The salutation.
Okay.
Yeah, the salutation
Did you
part.
hear that, Jason? the salutation?
Yes, I did.
Perfect, okay. All right, he'll fix that. Any other questions? All right, Jason, if you want to take off and go grab dinner, you can do that now. I think we're good on this topic.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Thank
Good
you.
dinner.
Thank you.
So if you want to redo that letter, I can sign it tomorrow and then you'll have it for Friday morning. Because we meet tomorrow night.
Yes, I will do that, and then I'll give it to JD and her and Jason can work with you on the project. Okay.
Okay, in announcements, we didn't announce that we have our meeting tomorrow night.
Oh, we do, I did not make that announcement, I posted it on the front door,
And if
but
we-
we have our regional board meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with the Mountain Youth Tribe, Montezuma County, Town of Dolores, and City of Cortez. It is at the community center at 7 p.m.
Here, it's
It's
Yes.
our community center. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
At
We're not going to 12.
You said
Yeah.
7.
7 p.m., correct.
Okay.
All right, next on the agenda is the 2024 budget discussion version 3.
So what this is, we did during workshops, we did projects and capital, we've done operating. This is everything put together. Operating, capital, projects, everything in one draft budget for 2024. The only thing that I would, there are actually a couple of things, but I included kind of as I've done in the past, a snapshot on the front page for fund balances and capital projects and grant funding that's already committed. I have a couple of notes on items such as mineral lease and severance tax. We don't receive those until third quarter. I'm still waiting for a final dispatch bill, which is kind of a large item in the marshal's office.
Thanks, Justin.
And SURSA and CPT. So this is still a rough draft, but two things. One, with regard to operating, all of our funds are now balanced. We are far enough through the year that I was able to tighten up sales tax a little bit. So all of our operating funds are balanced. We are not in reserves for operating at all in any fund. The second thing I would say is Boyle Park is in this budget as an expenditure. However, I would ask and grant applications for GoGo open in February, that we do not plan this project without grant funding. We cannot afford it. That's the problem. We have other things that we've committed, and we have the marshal's office project happening. We have sidewalks and ADA ramps from CDOT happening in 2025 and 2026. We have some other projects out of the general fund that are already committed. And so what I may do is take Boyle Park out of the budget, and then when and if we would actually receive grant money for that project, do a budget amendment for both the revenue and the expenditure. I will leave it on the project list. I will note that it's not included in the budget, but it is still a priority for next year. But I would like your approval to remove that from the budget, knowing that we're still working on it, but we cannot afford that much money, that much cash out of our reserves, and still maintain fiscal responsibility.
Right.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question though on that general fund capital project. I thought we had agreed we weren't going to pay Mesa.
No, we did agree to do it.
No, I thought we had, in our workshop, we had discussed taking that part out of that because of the cost of the paving.
I must have missed that.
We had discussed that and
I will do whatever you will decide, but
I just thought we had talked about it. We had talked about the fact that it's only that short of a span, that we weren't gonna necessarily pave it.
Mason.
If you
Yeah,
talk
they
to
Mason.
some-
I thought you said Mason.
I think
I'm
we
thinking, wait,
talked
Oh,
we're paving
is this
right
this
here,
is down by the
right
coffee
there.
shop?
we
Yeah.
talked about
That we
chip
weren't.
seal instead of,
No, we had talked about just taking it off of the paving schedule for now because it was gonna cost so much to do that little section.
Yeah, now I'm
Yes.
remembering, we
did
talked
discuss
about
that, yes.
like
Okay, I
nice
didn't read.
gravel, nice gravel, and then like maybe even putting everybody's like dumpsters.
Yeah, we had talked about still doing that part of it, but
Yeah,
foregoing the paving.
yeah, that's right, we did.
At this point in time, yes.
Well, if it fits in this budget, like
Well, we're
this,
still
can we,
1.8 million negative on that, but like that's 1.8 million out of there.
right, I understand. But
Yeah.
as we know, as projects move forward, they just get more expensive.
Yeah, but the reason we had said we weren't going to do it is because it's such a small section right there, and that cost is pretty damn high.
It's more like, I would rather see a stretch of road that people actually drive on get paved before.
That conversation.
Well, and we also said that we weren't going to be running conduit or anything underneath there, correctly?
Yeah.
Correct? So that really didn't matter if we paved it now or not, because we weren't going to be running any infrastructure underneath it.
Yeah, the only thing infrastructure-wise was they were addressing
Yeah.
the area around the bridge and
Yeah.
and what they could do. And as you said, you know, the dumpster location and that, you know. But that was also, you know, in order to pay that, you know, we were talking, did we include, when, in your cost estimate, did that include curb and gutter on that?
No, just pay.
Just paying, yeah, I see.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
So. I'm
You're right.
So sorry.
catch.
I still need a consensus. I'm not sure where you guys are on that. So no paving or paving?
yeah, because that is what we talked about in the workshop, was not paving it.
That section at this point in time.
Yeah.
Just dumpsters? No
Because I thought the main driver of this paving of that section was the fact that they wanted to hold events outdoors on that area. And we were gonna have electric and all of that, but since we're not running any of that infrastructure there anyway, that kind of forgoes that project idea.
Because the common press is gonna pave their parking spaces are in the back, right? They're gonna pave behind the
I
building.
believe so.
Okay, so it looks to me like you've got Nick, you're no paving,
No paving.
Brent, no paving, Cindy,
Correct, no paving.
Ed, no paving, James.
Paving.
So you've got,
Sorry, Janice.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but-
dumpsters, no paving. Okay. All right. So I'll correct that moving forward in the next version as well.
now, are we running water to something?
No,
No.
what we had talked about was removing all of the landscaping, all of the plant, live landscaping, and doing, pedestals there for interchangeable art.
Okay,
Gravel, benches, that kind of thing, but nothing that requires water.
Mm-hmm.
We also should, we're trying to zero-scape and reduce water consumption wherever we can.
Yeah.
okay.
So, other than that, are there any questions on this? Are there any concerns, anything you want me to do for next time? If not, I will just kind of keep moving forward with what we have and tighten up numbers the closer we get to the first meeting in October. We must hold a public hearing to introduce this to the public. It must be adopted for our schedule by the first meeting in December. The other thing that I haven't received yet is our notice evaluation. I haven't even received a preliminary notice. I'll get that in September, and I'll be able to estimate property taxes for next year. So a lot of things, this will definitely be different in October. You will see a lot of changes because that's when I start receiving rather large, what for Mancos are large sums of money and large expenditures confirmed. We generally don't see those till the third quarter, so we'll tighten it up as we go. But I did want to reassure you that all of our funds are counted balanced.
Okay. Anything else from us on that? So do you need anything else from us on that? Okay. All right, moving right along is to appoint the town administrator Heather Alvarez as our SWORD representative.
Sword.
This is the Southwest Opioid Response District, I think, or something. Okay, so.
It says response.
Remember that
Response.
the opioid settlements, the class action settlements that came through, they're dispersing money over 18 or 19 years. And the town of Vegas, I think, over the course of those 19 years, receives $5,000 in the ransom. So what we've done is the Region 9 district has, all of the entities in that district have agreed to allocate our money to the sword, and we've all entered into an IGA. Justin has been the sword representative, and he needs to step down. So I've agreed to step up and finish up his term until May of 2024, and then we'll figure out who gets to serve next and go from there. Okay, may volunteer Jason. Oh, he's not on the phone, so he did express interest, I will say, he did express interest, but I would like to, it's been several years since I've been involved, since Justin took over, so I just figured it's a good time for me to get back in and get my finger on the pulse, see what's happening, and then potentially turn it over to Jason or somebody else.
Jason.
There's speaking of opioids, there's a really interesting documentary slash, it's got Matthew Broderick in it, so it's an acted out version, but it's kind of a look at how the opioid crisis started and who created the problem. And it's really fascinating. I've got like 1.5 episodes watched, and it's fascinating. You just want to reach through the TV and strangle this guy. So if anybody, I think it's on Netflix, I want to say. So yeah, it's just called Painkiller, and it's a real eye-opener.
Does that take long to get hooked on those painkillers?
Not long at
Well,
all.
thanks, Heather, for volunteering.
So
I know it's one
So,
more
Do you
thing.
need a motion?
I need a motion in a second, we don't need a roll call vote, just.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Town Administrator Heather Alvarez as our sword representative.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Ed Helen and a second by trustee Denise Bryant to appoint Town Administrator Heather Alvarez as the Town of Mancos' representative to the Southwest Opiate Response District SWORD. All in favor say aye.
Bye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Okay, moving right along to the Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 10, and Appendixes Review.
So, this is the 2 final chapters, I guess, for the comp plan. You and the planning commission have been working on this for, I think, a little over a year now. This is the final draft of chapter 10 and the final draft of the appendices for your review and feedback. And then, once you provide your comments to me, those changes will be made. The document will be compiled into a Word document and it will go to the planning commission. I believe it's the planning commission that adopts this. I will have to read the specific statutes in chapter 1 of this document, so it was over a year ago that I read it, but regardless, it will follow statute and it will go to the planning commission for review and potentially adoption, but regardless, it will come back to the board for a final, here's your document.
Well, the only, I read through it and a lot of information. I think it was really good. And what I appreciated is that they actually put the maps. A lot of these areas, I was like, oh no, that's over there. And then when I got through it and towards the end and they actually have the maps, it's like, oh, okay, that makes much more sense.
Well, and I can make that bigger because we do have that in 10.3 on the preferred growth opportunity areas. It does say, please see maps in Appendix A for details on each section.
Yeah.
I can make that, I can potentially bold that or underline, like call attention to that so people reading this know.
No, just to go to this map because
It's
if
visual.
you don't, well, and if you don't know like what Mud Creek is or, you know, so you can go right to the
Yeah, I
map.
learned about Yak Ridge and Yak Valley.
Yeah, who knew?
I'd never heard of that.
Is that because there used to be Yak Farm over there? I'm pretty sure there was
Yeah.
one at some point.
Yeah. West of town. on the
Yeah,
north
just
side.
like
Yeah.
that's where it
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, there were yaks there.
I remember seeing them at one point when I visited here before I moved here.
Yeah.
But I was like, where the heck is Yak Valley? I know where Mud Creek and all that other stuff is, but that was That was new to me.
I have a question, and this is just because I'm living there now and having issues with address. Google does not recognize West Montezuma,
Or East Grand or West Grand.
right?
For some reason,
And
Google
so-
Maps screws them all up.
Yep, you can't, I waited 6 weeks getting my cable hooked up because they would send them to West Montezuma and to East Montezuma because there was no West Montezuma. And, so it does, like the water dock is on West Montezuma. And then there's the two houses, and they do not recognize those at all.
Justin may have an answer, because I don't know what to do.
And the post office does.
To be honest with you.
Okay, Google on the line.
I don't have an answer for you right this second. So Justin.
Graham's the easiest to answer because it's a CDOT controllable highway. So it's really 160 feet under Google because it's 160 business loop. And then for West Montezuma, because really we only have a westbound lane is in town for just a short section. Google takes over the main roadway, which is County Road J. So on Google and stuff, because County Road J, the 41 or the intersection at Montezuma and Main, it's easier to put that in because it's more of a thoroughfare route than just our short section.
So when we say that area, then we should say 240 J Road?
Well, technically, no, because that's not your taxable address.
Right. But if you put 240, if I put 240 West Montezuma, UPS, FedEx, all these people, they don't know where to go.
I think the county assigns addresses. I would check with the county.
No, we assign
We do?
addresses in town.
Oh, okay.
And we're still in the city
county
limits.
assigns addresses in the county. I truly have no idea who contacted Google Maps, but there has to be a way to resolve that, so I'm gonna put a note on here that you want to take some time.
That's fine, that's
I don't
fine.
know
I mean,
if
I'm
I
just
can
asking
resolve
because,
Because it's like for me, the school is
Right.
351. In West Grand, we're 351 East Grand, and we get things both ways.
Heather, I've tried this, it can take years.
I know, but, I honestly, I'm not super hopeful.
Okay. It's great that we even are on the map, I like that. But, I've been dealing
We
with this.
assign the addresses, so the postal service has your address.
Right.
But, yeah, okay, well,
That's it.
I'm aware of the issue. I truly don't know if there's a solution.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, just throwing it out there.
But now everyone knows your address.
That's fine, I don't care. Everybody knows where I live anyway. I mean. So, but it does create a problem when you try to get something. Okay.
Anything else in the document itself or in the appendix that you guys, comments, suggestions, changes, typos? Because I've looked at this in a whole lot.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. No typos popped out at me.
Well, I can tell you, on the planning and zoning, they've got a lady that watches typos and punctuation, and she is very vocal about it. And fonts and underlines and formats and I mean.
Rightfully so, yeah.
And
Good.
in final drafts, I totally appreciate that, because like I said, I do look at these often, and it does help to have more than one set of eyes.
Absolutely.
But if there are no changes, then I will support the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. This is just.
That might have just been like because it's.
Okay. So next then is items for the September 13th agenda. The workshop will be to be determined.
Do you have any, does anybody have anything they would like to put on the September 13th workshop agenda?
I won't be here. I will
we had a
The other thing
food
is-
show in Albuquerque.
You may, and I know Denise won't be here, because she'll be out of town, okay. So if I come up with something, or if there's something on the calendar, I will let you know. Otherwise, do you want me to cancel it if there isn't one, and just make sure that I notify you all of that?
Will Richard be back?
He will be back, yes.
He will be back.
And reminder, I won't be here in September.
Oh, for you.
We also, at some point, either this meeting or the last meeting, will have the student liaison applications. We met with the school. They are going to collect the applications, review them, and narrow it down to 3 finalists. Those 3 finalists will come to you at board meeting, so you can interview them and choose out of the 3 finalists. So Jason and I are working on some possible questions for you, such as, what's your schedule like? Do you make 2 meetings a month? Are you in sports? I don't think that should necessarily disqualify them, because a well-rounded student is great, but you do want to know what you can expect of your liaison. They will be treated as a new trustee as far as onboarding. They'll get an email address from the town, they'll get a tablet, they'll get their little binder, they'll get the, this is all public record lecture.
Yeah.
For me, that kind of thing. So that's the other thing. If you have specific questions you would like your liaison, you would like me to include in the interview questions that each liaison will be asked, will you please email them to me in the next 2 weeks? And I will compile them. Jason and I will come up with some, and we'll give them to you at the meeting. So you'll see that at one of the September meetings. You'll see 3 finalists, and you will choose your finalist.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think that's better. The school will narrow them down, but this is a liaison for the board and the staff. So you having something that I think is.
Yeah.
That's cool that we had enough, I mean, that's a lot of applications.
Well, I don't know how many applications they received. We just met with the facilitator yesterday.
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday, yesterday. So we tightened up the timelines and he's putting it out. So I don't know how many applications they're going to have. You will interview the 3 finalists, but I will receive all of the applications to keep because we'll have to for records. So, but you will only see applications for 3 finalists.
And we'll interview them and then we'll choose after the meetings. It's not like 3 of them, so you only have to pick one, right?
Sounds
comfortable.
We can do that. That's what I would recommend, but you will have to deliberate in a public meeting.
Yeah.
So, I can do interviews. Would you like me to schedule interviews at one meeting and selection and discussion at the next meeting? With the understanding that if those students want to attend, they can.
I think we might as well just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I mean,
That's why we get the big bucks.
Okay. So it'll all be done. Okay. All right.
It's
I know it's
uncomfortable.
awkward.
It's uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable when we have,
If you can.
if somebody
I'd like to be involved
resigns
in
or
October meeting.
leaves here and we have
If we could
applications.
do it in
we
an
have to-
October meeting.
Sure,
Would that be okay? I mean, if you can, I get it.
We will hold off until the October meeting, so we have an entire board here. Because if we do it in September, Brett's not here, Janice isn't here.
And I may not be here. I'm traveling again.
I'll
for work,
also miss the first October meeting.
So I gotta get my schedule figured
But
out.
I'll be here for that one.
Can you call in?
I can call in for that one, yeah. I'll be in Michigan, but I can call in.
So
They
let's
have
do the
phones
first
then.
October meeting,
Sometimes.
because then you can at least call in.
Yeah.
Anybody who misses a meeting can call into the meeting and the workshop. The only time you cannot attend is a public hearing or executive session.
Yeah.
So,
I can call in for the October one. The September one, I'll be at Expo Hall.
okay.
In
So at that meeting, you will not be able to vote on the budget
Budget,
during the
yeah.
public hearing.
Yep.
You'll have to say abstain.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll put that on the first meeting in October. I will let Mr. Riddle know that we're pushing this to the first meeting in October due to trustee schedule. They can continue on with their process and that kind of thing, but I'll let them know. Okay, I can do that.
Cool.
Anything else?
One more question about the student liaison. Are they going to be a 4-year trustee or 2-year?
One
Or
year.
just
Year
1
now.
year?
Oh, yeah. School year.
This year, we're getting kind of a late start, so we'll just be through May.
Okay, till their school season
Till their
starts.
school season
Okay.
starts, yeah. At some point, depending, this is our first year, so we're doing a small scholarship and that kind of thing. But one of the things that we had talked about was if this goes well after a year or two, expanding into potentially the planning commission. And or if someone is truly interested in going into public service,
Governance.
then potentially a CMO conference for a senior. Or actually, if they want a junior, you know, that kind of thing, maybe they attend a CMO conference. But that, they'd have to be pretty interested in public service if we're gonna, because that's, you know, $3,000 a person.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's something that we should at least keep on the table. After this year, we're gonna kind of do an after action, just, you know, Jason and Mr. Riddle and I are gonna make sure what did we miss, what did we do better, that kind of thing. So we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
First time, so it's good.
Yeah, it
Sounds
I'm
great.
really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Me too.
Me too, excited.
So I'll email Mr. Riddle tomorrow and let him know that we'll do this at the first meeting in October and invite him to call in. Okay.
All right, next on the agenda is adjournment.
So
We go to adjourn. Well, you have nothing but fun.
Thank you.
Don't drink any booze.